got the thing. My microphone is on. Hooray. All right. It's Friday night, and the feeling's right. Gonna have some fun, show you how it's done. McAgee3 Meetup March edition, because it's not TGI McAgee3, at least not directly anyway. What's up, everybody? Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday to each and every one of you, and welcome to the March edition of McAgee3 Meetup. It's your man, McAgee3. My guest tonight is a very respectable individual, and I said that wrong, but that's fine. He is a school teacher. He is a Magic the Gathering player, but most importantly, he's just an all-around joy to just be around. My guest tonight is the creator and originator of the YouTube channel Dungeon Learner's Guide. His name is 13 Points. He's also known as Zach. How are you today, Zach?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I am doing fine, thank you. Would you prefer me to call you Zach or 13 Points or DLG? What would you prefer?
Zach is fine by me.
Zach is fine. Okay, so as you all know, for those who may not be familiar with this series, this is a monthly series where I interview uh, a variety of content creators far and wide, what they do, how they got there, and how they're enjoying themselves, etc., etc. I usually have my guests pick the game that we are going to play as we do the interview. Clearly, because Dungeon Learner's Guide is a Magic the Gathering channel, it's only fitting that we actually play Magic the Gathering. Just my own thoughts on that. But anyway, all that being out of the way and whatnot, uh, Zach, if you would so kindly tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you mentioned, my name is Zach. I am a middle school social studies teacher teaching civics and economics.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started up the YouTube channel itself a little over a year ago now. So I've been posting weekly videos of commander content, playing games and deck techs for about a year now. And other than that, I mean, just making do at home. I've got a bunch of pets. You might be able to hear them in the background. The guinea pigs, it's their dinner time, so they're
Oh,
currently munching away right next to me. So I do apologize if you can hear that.
oh, that's
But
fine. My channel is all
yeah,
about having fur babies just, either doing things or making noise. Uh, in case for those who might be wondering, the reason why you can see neither of our faces is due to some technical limitations. This was the best setup that I could put up for the stream, so just bear with me. But it's perfectly fine because you guys hear me, you guys hear him. Uh, you are okay with being addressed as him, yes?
yes,
Okay. You can hear us, and that's what matters. So, okay. So you said you do social studies and economics.
yeah. So eighth grade is civics and economics, so government and econ.
Uh huh. Like, because I'm not a teacher by any stretch of the meaning, but like, so what kind of goes into when you're teaching that type of subject? Like, what are like the bullet points of what you got to focus on in that curriculum? If that question makes any sense.
Yeah. uh, it's a lot. So for eighth grade, they have their standardized test at the end of the year that includes who knows how much stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only getting the basics with me, and they kind of get more government and economics when they get to high school.
Mm-hmm.
So for the sake of not spending the whole interview just listing off bullet points,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of go through the fundamentals of our government, the founding documents and the founding principles,
Mm-hmm.
all the way through maybe some important figures. Um, and then getting into economics, we talk a little bit about like supply and demand and the basics behind why the economy does what it does.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are right now. Right now, we're learning global trade. So, why do countries want to trade with each other?
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Like, so So as a teacher, and we'll get to the magic talk in a second, but this actually kind of interests me a bit. So as
Mhm.
a teacher, like, so what inspired you to be a teacher in the first place? That's what I'd like to know.
So I guess that one, I would say I decided I wanted to be a teacher pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
The one like defining moment that I remember was actually my seventh grade social studies teacher,
Mm-hmm.
who when that was I grew up in Michigan, and our seventh grade class was world history.
Mm-hmm.
So we were learning about like ancient Rome and all that kind of stuff. And so we did a project toward the end of the year
Mm-hmm.
where we got to like make our own countries and got to like trade with each other and just kind of use everything that we had learned throughout the year as like a final project.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason I just kind of fell in love with that, so much so that I'm actually using that same project with my own students. So it just I don't know, I just kind of remember one day coming home and being like, huh, I wouldn't mind doing that the rest of my life.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, okay, okay. Because I have a fair share of teachers that I know, like through family and all that other stuff, and you know, me being a member of the unwashed masses, one of my things is like, can't really get over the thought process of, dealing with like it doesn't even necessarily have to just be children, just other people in general, for 2 to 3 hours ish, dealing with those multiple different personalities. Because I'm pretty sure, like any occupation, that with teaching, not every day is a rosy colored day. You're gonna have like your troublemakers or just days where just things are just not going, you know, very well. And before you respond, I'm gonna allow, since you're my guest, I'm gonna let you go first. Because or I'll give you the choice of who should go first instead. Since it's just the two of us.
Well, thank you. I guess I will take the opportunity and go first then.
Okay. So yeah, that was my little thought on that in regards to like as you're being a teacher, because it's like
Hmm.
because not everybody does it right, because
Yeah.
dealing with those different types. I'm a mulligan. Dealing with all those different personalities, like that cannot be easy.
Yeah, it's I'm also mulliganing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a struggle. I'll be perfectly honest. Today was a bit of a rough day too,
Uh huh.
because and there are some days when go to work and come home and you're like, man, it was a good day. Like had some fun, enjoyed the time with the kids,
Mhm.
and then there were days like today where I kind of came home almost feeling defeated. It was just like
Mhm.
a slog to get through the day, and you're just like, oh my goodness. Um, and just I guess for a little bit of context, I actually teach. There's 6 periods throughout the day, and
Right.
I teach 4 of them.
Uh huh.
So I have 2 planning periods, and those periods are in the middle of the day. So I teach the first 2 and the last 2 classes of the day.
Oh, okay.
Um, but lately, with the way that the subsystem has been going and the bus driver system, there's just been a lot of lack of, I guess, people working in the buildings.
Mhm.
So a lot of times the teachers are called away during their planning period to sub for other teachers, and the buses run late because there's not enough bus drivers.
Mhm.
And so the kids have been staying after the bell. So the bell will ring about 2:45, 2:50
Mhm.
to let them out, and I usually have kids in my classroom until about 3:30.
Mhm.
So it's just like that extra 40 minutes of I'm not technically teaching right now, but
Mhm.
there's kids here, so I still have to be like on, you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Right.
And it just feels very strange, and I think that that's kind of why today was a weird day.
Jeez. Mm. Well, I have a keepable hand.
All right, I do as well.
Mhm. So for those that might not be quite in the know what's going on, we are playing Magic the Gathering. We are playing a format called Commander. It is normally a multiplayer as in 3 players or more format. Um, Obviously, due to the context of this particular stream, we're doing a 1v1. There are some 1v1 specific rules for playing Commander, but we're just gonna the only part of that rule that we'll probably respect is that the person that goes first just doesn't draw, but everything else we'll just leave as is. Um, so with that little tidbit aside, Zach, tell me, why content creation?
Sorry, just moving my microphone there. It was getting in the way.
Oh, no problem.
I think for me personally, I just kind of needed almost like a creative outlet kind of a thing. I had felt, especially, since I started about a year ago, I started during COVID,
Right.
and I at the time was teaching from home, so I was getting on my laptop and I was staying like in the same room all day, really not doing anything. And I was just kind of like, man, I need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way I could think of it was to turn something that I'm very passionate about, my hobbies, into a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And it originally started as a way to help my students, because I run a games club after school,
Mm-hmm.
trying to help my virtual students like learn how to play Dungeons and Dragons and learning how to play Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then it eventually kind of turned into what it is now, which is the weekly deck techs and gameplay videos,
Mm-hmm.
because I realized, as self-deprecating as it may sound, that there were just better intro videos out there. Like I could turn my students to other videos a little bit more easily than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Videos with like better production quality and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that at that point I was just like, I'll just make it my own thing and have some fun with it. And I think it's been going pretty well so far.
Okay, that's good. That's good. It seems like it is. Like you, like how long has your channel been going thus far?
So literally today, I actually put up the video that is a year anniversary's worth putting up videos every single week.
Oh wow.
So because the first Commanders Guild video I posted was March 19th of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I have officially hit like a full year. So that's kind of cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'm ready when you are. You looks like you're playing Atris Oracle of Half Truths.
Yep, got Atris.
Let me see if I can get this thing to work. Oh, good, it worked. Okay. So this is his commander. Oracle of Half Truths, 3/2, Menace. Enters the battlefield. Target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, this is going to be stream-friendly.
So my thinking was, because I had a plan for this, since there's only 2 of us, I can just reveal them, and my plan is to look away from the camera so you can kind of make your decision.
Well, we can give it a shot. It's fine.
So that was my thinking.
Yeah, we could do that, because, I mean...
I also don't know if Atris is going to come down that often, so...
Right. And also, ladies and gentlemen, cats and kittens, and everybody within the spectrum, we're using a program called Spell Table, which allows us to actually play paper Magic with friends and such. Obviously, one of the small oversights about this type of platform is that certain functions of cards don't translate very well due to the circumstances of your everything's on a camera. So in that regard, if you know the play group that you're with and you trust them and whatnot, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. When you're going up against randoms and they're running stuff like that, you might want to be a little bit concerned because you don't know what their intentions are. But Zach is a really cool guy. I've actually met him and played him numerous occasions over at what used to be called Landslide, which is now Respawn. So yeah, If he says he'll look away as I make the choices, then that is perfectly fine, and we'll just work it out as we go. So, all right, brother, take your turn. Take your turn.
Yeah, I will apologize for that in advance because I just grabbed the deck that was closest to me and I was like, oh, I'll do my thing. I also just drew a card which I'm not supposed to do in 1v1. I'm already messing it up.
Yep, cheat count 30. It's fine.
There we go. Sunken Hollow. Yeah, I'm not used to one-on-one commander very often.
Right.
I see the commander deck and I'm just like, oh, I get to draw a card. That's how this game works.
All right. I'm gonna draw for turn. I'm going to play a tapped breeding pool, and then I'm gonna pass and proceed to the next question.
Right.
So in terms of like 1v1 commander, the one thing I will say is, once again, it is a multiplayer format. However, my late best friend had actually brought up, because he wanted me to play test some decks with him 1v1, and I had the same ideology. It's like, but isn't it a multiplayer format? It's like, and he's like, well, if it functions really well 1v1, then it can theoretically function well in a group game also. And it was like, I kind of like, what do you think about that? What do you think about that particular mindset?
Well, so first off, I'm done. If you would like to take your turn.
Okay. Yep.
But I think yes and no. I think it kind of depends on the deck that you're actually playing.
Right. Prismatic Vista.
So
crack it, lose
a little, I guess. Yep. A spoiler for the deck that I'm playing. It's not focused so much on combat as it is on just drawing cards and like value and doing more. I guess I don't know what the right word is. More of like just kind of churning through the deck rather than putting creatures on the board and attacking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that translates very well, like 1v1 versus, a 4-player game, because my deck's going to do the same thing regardless.
Snow covered mountain.
But if I'm playing, like, I have another deck I have sitting nearby is a Rem Carless deck, which is a red-white attacking style strategy.
Play a Goblin Engineer and search for artifact, put in my graveyard.
I don't think the attacking style strategies work as well, because I can say like, oh yeah, it worked super well 1v1, but I'm trying to get you from 40 to 0, whereas if there's 3 opponents, I'm trying to get people from 120 down to 0, which is a much bigger gap.
That is true. Yeah, like, because and I like, the one thing I will say for the argument of doing 1v1 commander, it is somewhat of a way. I'm gonna put a scroll rack in the graveyard. It's a way to kind of, granted you're not in the ideal playing environment, but it's a way to kind of get an idea of what your deck is trying to do and how it would run. Like, I guess it's a way, like, I understand both sides, because it's like, on one side you can kind of get an idea what your deck's trying to do, but on the other hand, it's like you still need 2 other players to really, get a better and I'll pass, to get a better grasp on what all's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Right, well, I am doing nothing, so I'll pass it back.
Doing nothing, eh? All right.
Finding our lanes.
Actually, that's not true. You're about to do something. You're about to answer more questions. That's what you're going to do.
Also true.
You're going to stay involved. So how did you get started with the Dungeon Learner's Guide? Play a Snow Covered
So
Island.
just like the channel in general?
Yes.
So like I mentioned earlier, I kind of started it as a way to teach my students how to play, like Magic and Dungeons and Dragons were the 2 big ones.
Traverse the Uva Wall. I'm gonna search for a basic. Go ahead.
And so that's also kind of where the name came from, because for Dungeons and Dragons, there's a bunch of different like source books, and there's the Dungeon Master's Guide. So I was just like, oh, what if we're not masters? What if we're in fact learners? And I was just like, that works. We'll just call it that. And wound up tweaking some of the early videos to introduce people into both of the games for Magic and Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't, especially lately, haven't done as much with Dungeons and Dragons as I would like to. I'm hoping to fix that in the future, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on that. So it just kind of slowly changed into, oh, like this is how you this is how you could build your first deck. This is how you could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had posted something to Reddit, and someone was like, hey, like this deck idea you have sounds really cool. What if you like turned it into a video? And I was like, oh, I mean, I have a YouTube channel. I could do that. So
I'll go to combat and attack you for 1.
I will take the 1.
Hooray! And then I pass it to you.
All right. Oh my goodness. Boy, I was wrong. Maybe Atris is going to come down because I'm not going to be able to do anything else. All right. Well, stream mistake number 1 incoming, I suppose.
Okay.
So I'm gonna attempt to cast Atris.
Yep.
And so what I'll do is I'll pull the top 3 cards.
Yep.
And I'll look away and I'll just put them right there. And if you can't see them, let me know.
It's fine. I think I know what they all are from here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Target opponent looks at the top 3. Separate them 2 face down piles.
Yeah, so you leave 1 pile face up and 1 pile face down.
Okay. So...
And however you would like to separate them is up to you.
So I'm going to say, with you looking away, take your left hand and take... So the card that's next to your ring finger and the card next to that one, flip those 2 face down.
You got it. Ugh.
All right, there you go.
And those are the piles?
Yep.
All right. Interesting. Okay. I'll take the face up pile. I'll take the Naru Meha.
Mm-hmm.
What I throw away? Yeah, that's okay. All right.
Yeah, and that's basically how it is. It's like, you know, if you're playing with people that you know, then this sort of thing won't be that huge of a problem, right? Because you guys will work out a way to, you know, make it work. All right.
Yeah, and admittedly, it's easier when there's only the 2 of us, because
right.
I don't have to worry about 2 other people.
But... Right, that's true. All right, anything else?
All right. Nope, I am all set.
All right. I'm going to untap and take my turn. By force. Let's see here. Snow-covered swamp. The one that I searched for. Well, I should probably untap you, huh? We're going to then... We're going to pay 1 of each of our colors. You know what that means. Gonna grab Big Daddy Idris.
Alright.
And for those that are wondering, let's see if I can get this thing to work. There we go. There's my commander. 5/4, trample. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, as I cast spells from my hand that turn, those spells gain Cascade. And then there's a whole bunch of text saying what Cascade is. Basically, if I cast a spell, I can exile from the top of my library until I hit something that has mana value less than the spell that I cast. So, and then I'm going to pass.
All right. All right. Play another land.
Yep.
Let's see.
I'm actually going to set my hand right here. Let's see here. As he's thinking. So tell me, Zach, how long have you been playing Magic the Gathering?
Let's see. There's kind of a 2-part answer, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Play a Cloudkin Seer and draw a card.
Yep.
But I had my first experience, I suppose, with Magic when I was in, I want to say, middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pass as well.
Okay.
But that was like a friend of mine brought this box of cards to school with him one day
Mm-hmm.
and was just like, "Hey, check these out." And I was like, "Oh, these are fun." And I distinctly
Sure.
remember them being from around Odyssey when
Mm-hmm.
that was printed. So I couldn't tell you when that was exactly, but so we played the middle school version of it with no one to teach us. So I'm sure we did a lot of things wrong.
Right, right. I think that's most people who just start out playing Magic.
Yeah.
Shizu's Death Storehouse. Right.
Okay. And then I don't remember if he went to a different school or one of us moved something.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cards that I had kind of accrued during that time just kind of sat in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't touch the game again until I got to college.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like 2014, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Pay 3.
And I,
Sword of Feast and Famine.
yeah, yeah, gross.
We're gonna move to equip Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yep,
Gonna put it on Yidris.
yep.
My squad, my guy here's got +2/+2 pro green, pro black. When he deals combat damage, I can untap my lands, and the defending player discards a card.
Okay.
I'm going to move to combat.
Yep.
Idris would like to have some words with you for 7.
He's got trample.
Yes, he does.
Well, that ruins my plan. I will. Oh boy. I will just take it because I either take 7 or I take 6 and lose a creature. So I will just take the 7.
Okay, so I get to untap my lands, and then you have to discard a card.
Yes, I will discard. Okay. I'm gonna make a mistake here.
If it's any consolation, my Cascade is not going to be all that great because I actually don't have a lot to work with.
I'll discard a Fortune's Favor.
Okay.
But yeah, but anyway, I started playing again when I was in college because I found a friend of mine who we were both resident assistants together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had just a bunch of time to kill on one of our shifts. And he was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this game?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I think I've still got some cards." So we wound up pulling out just terrible cards with terrible decks and played some games. And eventually led to us being like, "Hey, I think there's a tournament on Friday.
Cast
Let's go
Venzer.
to that."
I'm a Cascade 3 or less.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to a standard tournament and absolutely got decimated because we had no idea what we were doing.
Get
And
Ice
then
Coatl.
eventually wound up kind of switching over to Commander.
Draw card.
For me, at least, he went more competitive and tried to get into Modern.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna put your commander back to your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Venzer effect.
Sounds good.
And then I pass.
All right. Nah. All right, I will untap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I started playing Commander, and I got my first Commander deck, which was a $20 Sliver Hive Lord Commander deck because I started Commander as a monster, and I've continued to be such.
Mm-hmm. Wait, $20? Was that $20 at the time, or
It was $20 at the time. It is definitely not $20 now.
right? Yeah, because
Slivers have appreciated quite a bit. Since
yeah,
then.
it's like the one tribe that like still maintains a very high price tag because of it's their slivers, right?
Yes. I am going to tap. Ice-Fang Coatl flies, yeah?
Yes, it does. And most certainly has Death Touch.
Yeah, it do. Alright, I'm going to tap 4. I'm going to play a Blood for Bones.
Mm-hmm.
And as an additional cost to cast it, I have to sacrifice a creature. So I'll sacrifice my Cloudkin Seer.
Yep.
and then return a creature card from my graveyard to the battlefield and another from my graveyard to my hand.
Okay.
So once the Cloudkin goes in, I can actually target it again. So I
Okay.
will return the Cloudkin Seer to the board and put Tome Raider into my hand.
Okay.
So then I draw another card for Cloudkin.
Okay.
Draw. Ugh. And I drew too many cards. I made a mistake. I will move to my end step, and I will have to discard a card.
Yep.
I will discard. I'll discard my commander, and I'll put him
in the command zone.
Back in the command zone.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I will go ahead and pass.
All right. So I'm gonna untap. I'm gonna untap, upkeep. On my upkeep, I will ask you the next question.
Okay.
So how difficult was it for you to grow your channel? Draw a card.
Not 100% sure, honestly. When I started, it was just like friends and family who I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," and they were like, "Cool, we'll subscribe to support you."
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was making the weekly decks already, and I was actually posting them onto Twitter and to Reddit just as like because that was the creative outlet at the time. I hadn't added the video component to it yet. And so when I started making the videos, I kept doing that, and I posted it to Twitter and to Reddit and tried to kind of spread the word there.
Conqueror's Flail? And
eventually, yeah. Do I just die?
I'll equip Conqueror's Flail.
Yeah. Yeah, no response.
Gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents I control, so another +4/+4, and you can't cast anything. So Yidris is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is an 11, 10, I think.
Okay, and I've taken 7. Okay.
So you're not dead on this hit, but you are hurting.
I am hurting.
So yeah, we gonna Shaboopy for 11.
Yeah. Take the 11.
Okay. I'm going to untap my stuff, and you're going to discard a Khazard.
I will discard a... I hate to do it, but I'm going to discard Tome Raider I just got back.
What do we...
But yeah, and so I think growing the channel at that point, though, was... It just kind of happened more naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been nice that there have been a couple of videos that I could point to throughout the course of the channel being around that really brought in a ton of viewers and subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Blue black. Cascade 1 or less off the Baleful Strokes. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the I think there's probably three videos in particular, 3, maybe 4 videos in particular that I could point to that I was like, yeah, like this is where I got a big portion of the people that are watching the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And the main one that actually sticks out is I reached out to another content creator. It's Mr. B specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a lot of like pack opening videos and giveaways and things like that. And he, for a time, was doing like content creator Mondays where he would like shout out a different content creator. And he wound up getting to me at one point. And that was when I did like my Chandler deck.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing a giveaway where to enter the giveaway, they had to subscribe to my channel and then leave a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had, dozens of people join in right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that, I'm also, I guess a little background on the decks that I make too. They're built around like random cards. So I pick one at random and make a deck. And I also take suggestions for it from people. And at the time, I would get, one suggestion every couple of weeks, so it wasn't too big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mr. B actually shouted out the channel, I got like 30 suggestions over the course of a week. So I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can get to all of these.
Jeez. I'm gonna
And I'm
goblin
actually,
goblin engineer's ability. I'm gonna sacrifice an artifact to bring an artifact from my graveyard to play. CMC 3 or less.
yep,
It's gonna be the scroll rack for the Baleful Strix.
seems good.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that was really like the big growth spurt for the channel, I
Mm.
suppose. And then very recently, I started partnering up with the Underground Sea, who is they're an Italian YouTube channel.
I'll pass after
And
that. Go ahead.
end of your turn, I'm gonna actually. Oh wait, I don't have the mana. Never mind, I lied. I'm gonna do
Sweet.
nothing. And they do like little. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like primer videos for decks, and so they reached out to me and asked if they could do some videos on some of my decks that I had made.
Mm-hmm.
And so their first one just came out a couple weeks ago, and I got a pretty big influx of viewers at that point as well.
Oh, sweet.
So I guess the short answer to my ramblings is every time I've partnered up with another content creator is when the big spikes happen. So
Yeah, that's usually the case. And
tends to
one
work.
one of the things about when you do content creation, it's all about community and working with your community, and you know being able to grow together as well a community. And
Mm-hmm.
and it definitely helps. Like I think that's the one constant that I've noticed from like the majority of the content creators that I've interviewed, is that usually it comes down to like you get started and then there are folks within the community who actually will help you out, and that's when you start to grow. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, what will you do before I go to the next question?
I'm gonna try to hit you in the face for 2.
You want to hit me for 2, but why do you want to do
Yep.
that? That's not
Because
very
you are significantly at a much higher life total than I am.
I guess I'll block with Ice Fang. Because that thing flies, right?
It does, yes.
Okay, I'll block with Ice Fang.
All right, I will, before the damage,
Okay.
I'm actually just going to save it. I'm going to use the Riptide Laboratory, since it's a wizard, and just return it to my hand.
Okay.
And then...
Second
main phase, I'm going to tap 4 and cast a Damnation.
That seems good. All right.
I would like to destroy all creatures, please.
I do believe you are going to get your wish. They are kind of not alive now. You just cost 2 more. You sunk my battleship.
I was dead if I didn't, so... All right, but that is it for me. Because I think I played a land. Yeah, I played a land.
All right, so at the end of your turn, I'm going to scroll rack. I'm going to put. I'm gonna set aside. To be honest, it might just be these 4. Yeah, I think I'm gonna set aside these 4. Let me make sure I order it in a way that I want it to be ordered. I guess like this. Okay, so these 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zach says I will not go out like this. 1,
Gotta
2,
put up something of a fight, right?
3, and 4. So we'll put these on top. Okay, then I'm gonna untap and start my turn. Zach does not want to get punched in the face. I guess nobody really wants to get punched in the face, to be honest. That is a very
not usually, no.
That's a very acceptable reason to not get punched in the face. What do I got here? Let's see what this bin looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. So play a snow-covered forest. Hooray, go me. Um, let's see. I think we're going to pay for red, blue, black, generic. I'm gonna play a Nicobolus the Ravager.
Ooh.
Please discard a card, sir.
I will discard a displace.
Okay. And then I'll pay the 2 to equip him with the Feast and Famine sword. And then
Alright.
I'm going to ship the turn after that.
Alright.
Let's see. I'm picking up some Mio for us. Please send me. Okay. Pepperjack wants me to send her money, so I will do just that. Okay. And then once I'm done doing that, question time! Woohoo! Everybody loves questions. Let's see here. Do this, do this, do that, do that. Okay, good. All right. Back to the task at hand. Well, not even a task. I'm actually enjoying myself. This is always great. Okay, so while you're in your turn, within your turn is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a goal in mind for your channel, or was it just for fun? You might have touched on it earlier, but I figure I'll ask anyway.
I mean, I think the main thing was that it was just kind of for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I kind of just needed something to do while
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, the end goal, I guess, is just interact with people. One of my favorite things about it is just people suggesting cards. A friend of mine, Sean, who shows up on quite a few of the games, actually tries to suggest cards that he actively thinks are bad, just
Mm-hmm.
to have me make a deck out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think overall that tends to be the main goal, is just like the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because I struggle to interact with people normally. I mean, that's the life of a teacher. I deal with 110 14-year-olds every single day.
Right.
Like,
You kind of
talk to
want
people,
time to yourself from time to time, right?
Yeah. So also, I'm gonna cast a Deliver Unto Evil, and I do not control a Bolus Planeswalker, unfortunately, so I don't get to do all the fun stuff with it. But what I do get to do is pick 4 cards out of my graveyard.
Right.
Which is going to be these 4. And then you get to choose 2 of them to put into my hand, and 2 that go back into the graveyard. And that gets exiled.
Okay, so what is the one on the far left?
This is a Fortune's Favor. It's a 4-mana instant. Target opponent looks at the top 4 cards of my library, separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. And then one goes to my hand, the other goes to my graveyard.
Okay, so I'll let you keep that and that critter that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, and then...
Sounds good. You don't want the board wipe again?
I kind of don't wanna.
Well, okay.
I mean, I guess it could soak up your turn, I suppose, but nah. Let's try to get something going.
Alright, I will play the Cloudkin Seer again.
Yep.
Just keeps coming back.
So it does.
Yeah, and I will pass the turn after that.
Alright, untap.
But yeah, I think just the goal for the YouTube channel was just to kind of have that creative outlet and talk to some people.
Mm-hmm. I think let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I think during my upkeep, I'm going to pay 2. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice the Vessel of Nascency. So I'll reveal the top four, even though I sure know what they are. One, well, blah. One, two, three. Hey, look, anger and four. And I will put the land to my hand, and then these go in the graveyard. Hooray! Then I'll draw for turn. Hooray! Uh, then let's see here. You've got a busy bee of a blocker. You have a busy. Oh, this is in my hand. Actually, I lied. It's not in my hand. It's actually in play now. I'm gonna play it. Let's see. So that does that, and that does that. Oh, right. I can do that, can't I? Then what? Then what's my next move? Not much. Well, no. I'm wrong. I actually do have next. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay a black, use Shizo's Death Storehouse ability, and give Nicol Bolas Fear until end of turn.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to move the Conqueror's Flail onto Nikki B, giving him an additional +3. So that makes it 4, 5, 6, 7. So that makes it a 9/9. I will then enter into combat. Nicol Bolas is going to crash into you for 9.
And it's got fear, so I can't block it, right?
Got fear, and it's got the flail, so you can't cast anything.
Not ideal. Well, I guess I am taking 9 then.
Okay, so with the Feast and Famine trigger on the stack, I am going to activate. Wait, no, I can't do that. Well, I mean, I can, but it doesn't do anything. Well, no, it does. Hold on. I'm going to. I guess I'm going to scroll rack one card face down and just draw. Tag on it. And we'll put this on top. Then we get the trigger, so I will untap my lands and you will discard a card.
Okay. I'll discard that Fortune's Favor that we know about.
Okay. Then I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna pay 7. I'm going to Temporal Mastery and take an extra turn.
Seems good.
Okay. Okay. And then before I move to my next turn, we're going to learn a little bit more about you, my guy. Let's see here. So tell me, when it comes to your content creation, do you have a philosophy or rule of thumb as I take my extra turn? On top.
I mean, I guess the general philosophy is I just want to make interesting content, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm building a new deck every week, that I'm not the best player in the world. I'm not the one who knows the format the best. So if you're looking to, see some like top-notch gameplay, I'm probably not the channel for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to think that if you're looking for creativity, then I can be a good person to go to for that.
Mm-hmm. Pay 6.
Because I've tried really hard to not build just like the generic, like same decks all the time.
Right.
And I think I've succeeded for the most part.
Ooh, the sword.
So as a quick peek into future endeavors, I suppose. Like recently I've made a lot of decks. Well, I say a lot. It was 2. But for me that's a lot.
Right, right.
Two decks that care about like taking your opponent's things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recently had someone suggest, oh boy, who was it? I don't remember the name of the commander off the top of my head, but it's a commander that steals things.
Right.
And I was like, man, I really don't want to do a third deck of the same thing.
I'll go to combat and swing for lethal, but you can block the Nicol Bolas, though.
Well, if I can block Nicol Bolas, then I will do so.
Okay. And you will take 7 from Yidris.
Which is lethal commander damage.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, because I was already at 18 Yidris.
Yeah, okay. Woo!
Yeah. Nice. Oh, man. I had the win in hand, too. I was ready to go off.
That is usually how these types of games go. It's like, next turn I was going to win.
I think the scary part is, I think I could have actually done it several turns ago, but Narumeha has a new card to this deck, and I had no idea how she works. And I guess I didn't realize just how much combo potential she has. So, yeah. Cool.
So tell us a little bit about, as you're doing the budget commander decks, because that is the focal point of your channel, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
It is, yeah.
So it's gone through some transformations over the course of the year, where I think you started out where you just went to certain websites to just find a card at random, and then it evolved to, in addition to that, having the audience pick a card and whatnot, and explain how that process kind of came into itself over time.
So it's interesting because I actually, so like I said, I started the whole thing before posting it to YouTube. So I was just kind of making the decks for fun, and I would post them onto Twitter and Reddit and just talk about them with whoever wanted to listen. And then after a couple of months or so of doing that, I actually had someone reach out to me over Reddit and say, like, hey, I've had this card in my mind for a long time and I can't come up with a deck idea for it. So, like, what do you think? And I was like, yeah, like I can do that. And that was the very first video I ever actually did on the channel. It was, well, not the first video, but the first Commanders Guild video. And it was Imminent Doom. And once I did that, I was like, well, I can't bank on someone suggesting a card every week. So then I started going back to the random cards, and it was probably a few months went by before someone suggested a card again.
So what website or websites were you using to determine, like, the card that you would do each week or whatever?
So the main one that I'm using is scryfall.com, which, if you don't know what it is and you play Magic, it is an amazing resource, and I highly recommend them. They basically have a database of all the cards that exist in Magic. And on the homepage, there's literally a button that just says random. And you can just hit that, and it will take you to a random card in Magic's history. And usually that works out pretty well. There are some times when I'll, spin into a random and I have to veto the card that gets pulled up.
Right.
Because, like, at one point I got, like, Mox Emerald, which is, like, a couple $1,000s.
Right.
Like, well, that doesn't fit in the budget,
Exactly.
There's also been times where I've hit, like, an island or, like, another basic land, and I was kind of like, could I do that? Yeah. But is it going to be good content? Probably not. So I kind of made sure to give myself the veto powers in it.
Right.
And so Scryfall has been absolutely phenomenal. I actually, all of the decks, so if you go to, like, my channel and find any of the decks, you can actually see them all in Scryfall itself. Because I figured if I'm using the random cards there, I might as well, like, use the website. So
Right.
sorry, I'm trying to find one of my decks, and I don't know where it went. It's around somewhere.
Good grief! The guy that does Magic the Gathering content is struggling to find a deck to play.
Yeah, shocking, right? That'll work. That's fine. That's a deck.
I'm
I don't think I've
surprised.
ever
I'm
actually
surprised
played
you're
this
not
deck
breaking
with
out.
this too.
Surprised you're not breaking out Flibblethip.
Fibblethip's on the other side of the room. Otherwise,
Oh.
I would. We got Savine though.
Oh, you're counter picking? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can do that. That's all good. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but yeah, and
Go ahead.
so like, but using Scryfall has been super helpful, and there have been a couple of times too where I've spun the random wheel into cards that I didn't think were going to work because it literally pulls from all of Magic's history. So there's a good chance you get something that you can't use, especially because of, like you mentioned, the budget restrictions.
Right.
So it was nice to be able to. At one point, I got a reserve list card, which was like $75 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually able to make the deck work because I was able to go through and do the math of like if every card I play is less than like 25 cents, then I can actually build a $100 budget deck with a $75 card. So it's nice to see I guess like the restrictions that it places on you by getting a random card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also nice too because it lets me break out of my comfort zone a little bit because I'm very much a Boros player at heart, and if I could spend every game attacking, I will.
Right, exactly.
But there have been times where I've pulled like a mono blue deck, and I'm just like, oh boy.
you kind of sound like me when it comes to like playing control.
Yeah, I very much do not want to play control for the most part, which is ironic because I just pulled out a control deck. But I like to imagine Savine isn't full control, I say, as I'm probably going to prove myself wrong immediately. But
So I'm glad you mentioned playing decks that are more aggressive, that are combat centric. So let me ask you this, because your opinion is quite valued when it comes to Magic the Gathering. I do frequent your videos quite often, and I've been
thank you.
in a few of them. So my question to you is, how do you feel? And this is about play groups. How do you feel about players who run decks where clearly the sole purpose of the deck is for creatures to turn sideways? Even have creatures in play that are meant to turn sideways, and they don't attack. What are your thoughts on that?
I think my thoughts may differ from if you look at the people who generally show up on the channel. The group I play with the most are a group of guys called like they have names. Jason, Sean, and Bilal.
Right.
And
Bilal, I'm still calling you out, by the way. Continue.
The most aggressive players would be myself and Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of times when oh my goodness, I can't find Lance. That's fine. I'm gonna keep this anyway.
Okay.
When
I'll let you have the choice of player pass.
I'll play again, I suppose.
Okay.
And so there'll be a lot of times where someone will play an early drop, like a 1 or 2 mana creature, and I'm just gonna play a land and pass.
Okay.
And we'll either not attack or we'll like randomly decide who to attack.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the kind of person that like I'm not gonna randomly decide. I'm just gonna pick someone and I'm gonna hit them because maybe I'm worried about what their deck is gonna do, or I've seen that deck before and I know it's like got the cards to stop me.
Chromux.
And so I'm very, very happy to just keep turning things sideways, which ironically is in a group chat I have with the play group. My nickname in there is Turn Things Sideways.
Right.
So that's what I'm known for. But
pay 2. Arcane Signet.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't keep up with that.
Go ahead.
I think the general idea of like not attacking is To me, I'm not a fan because I just
Mm.
prefer. I'm just gonna play a tapped Shockland and pass.
Okay. Okay.
Like if at the end of the day, yeah, we're all like friends. We all want to have a good time, but
Hmm.
we're all still also trying to win the game.
Right.
And so if it's just like a free attack, if I can attack into you and there's nothing you can do to stop it, then it makes sense to me to do that. I've definitely died for doing that before, though. I've definitely had someone kill me because I hit him with like a Llanowar elf on turn two.
Jeez.
But
I think we're
I'm
playing
gonna keep doing it
Tribe Elder here.
because I don't learn from mistakes. So
Then I'll pass. Magic is always going to be a learning experience, no matter what, because the game is always evolving, and
yeah,
and when you're playing, and when you got like a play group to play with, like you usually just learn from one another, be it play styles, other people's decks, or your own decks.
that is
So
true.
that's a gutter snipe, isn't it?
That's a gutter snipe.
Well, in response to that,
Very
Steve, go bye bye.
very early gutter snipe with not a lot of backup. But you know what? He's a good boy,
He's a good old boy.
and I'm sure he'll survive the entire game, no problem.
I mean, if he survives the entire game, no problem. I will definitely just be like, well, I deserve that.
Yeah, but that's all I got for turn two.
All
Turn
right.
two? Turn three. I can't count.
I don't know. I lost track as well. All right. I'm on tap. On tap. I'm gonna draw a magical card that is in fact magical. It's a 2/2, right?
It is in fact a 2/2.
A little sadness. I'm going to just go ahead and call out Miss Rasheen here, and I will pass the turn.
Alright, I will untap. Ooh, we did not get there.
Oops.
Whoops. Can't do that though. So I will. And Roshin is how big?
4/4.
4/4. Bigger than my gutter snipe. So I am going to
She's a
take
big old
one
girl.
damage
Yep.
because of my Shivan Reef.
Yep.
Tap for the Jeskai manas
Uh huh.
and play a Jeskai
Because
Ascendancy.
ascendancy. Ugh. Okay. That is actually
I
quite
don't.
scary.
It is. I don't have a fourth land though, so
I mean,
that is unfortunately all I got.
shoot. I mean, it can get you to one.
That's true. That's the goal.
Right. But yeah, like I mean, you know the usual suspects that I usually play Magic with, and like the thing is just like I've just seen so many times where it's like they'll have this big board of just stuff like big fat angry creatures or just a bunch of mini tiny creatures that are disposable, and they'll swing with like one thing and they don't even have exalted, and I'm just like, come on now, come on. You could do a little bit more than that. All right, let me see here. I'm going to be cheeky here. I'm going to pay 3. I'm going to play Unbound Flourishing.
Ooh, baby.
Whenever you cast a permanent spell with a mana cost that contains X, double the value of X. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell or activate an ability, if that spell's basically, if the spell ability has X in it, I can copy it and choose new targets for the copy. There we go.
Seems good.
All right, so I'm going to tap for a red and just a chungus of 4. I'm going to make 2 copies of Red Sun Zenith, where X equals 4. We're going to send 4 to Gutter Snipe, and we're going to send 4 to your Dome.
Sounds good.
And we're going to shuffle this in. Easy going to shuffle, easy going to shuffle. Shuffle, 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 shuffle Magoo. So tell me, like, ever since you started doing the budget commander builds, and I'm assuming you also do budget, like, brawl builds and stuff as well, like, would you say that is help you grow as a Magic the Gathering player?
I mean, yeah, the short answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've personally always found the building and the creation of the decks to be the most entertaining part.
Mm-hmm. I'll pass after
So
that.
for me to be able to build essentially a new deck every single week,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I mean, one, it's nice because I don't have to, fill up the closet with more Magic cards,
Mm-hmm.
which is always nice. But it's helped me to kind of get into certain archetypes and like understand, like, oh, I'm building a mono blue deck. What are the cards that are going to be good for this deck? And I've kind of slowly learned the cards that I think are good versus maybe the cards that are good,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm working with like the $100 budget limit,
Mm-hmm.
which it sounds like a lot, $100.
Mm-hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things for Magic, it's not.
Yeah, it's really
Like
not.
the Atris deck that I just played had a oh, what the heck is it called? I have it right there. It's got a mana drain in it,
Oh boy, isn't
which is
that
like
like?
what, $80?
Yeah, that's
You
basically the
know,
whole deck.
yeah. So being able to learn like, oh, I could play mana drain, or I could play like Arcane Denial, which is 80 cents as opposed to $80.
Right.
And like trying to figure out the budget. And so now,
You
when
gonna
I
loot?
first started, I suppose, yeah, I am gonna loot. Cast. I get to draw first. So draw, and then discard. I'm gonna discard a refuse to cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still didn't hit the land though, so I will pass.
Sucks.
But being
Sucks.
able
Go ahead.
to, like, when I lost my train of thought. Hang on. Being able to, like, when I first started, I struggled to keep the budget under $100
Mm-hmm.
because I would just kind of throw in. I was like, oh, this card is good. Let me put it in, and then I would get to the end and it's like, this deck is $200. I'm like, ah, crud. I gotta do a lot of changing and
Jeez.
I gotta tweak it, and now I've gotten to the part where I
I'll play gutter
almost
snipe.
surprised myself.
Mm-hmm.
What? Hang on. Why do you get a gutter snipe?
Why do I get a gutter snipe? Because I'm the host. I'm
That
the
makes
host.
sense. Yeah, yeah,
uh.
yeah. But yeah, and like now I almost surprise myself when my decks go over $100
Oh wow.
because I'm usually pretty confident of like, oh, these are the 100 cards I put together. I have learned
5.
what is good and also still cheap.
Casual 10-10.
Yeah, casual 10/10 that can't be blocked by my indestructible commander.
And then I pass.
All right, I will on that. Which, like, if you look at my personal decks, there's a lot of, I mean, like, literally the one I'm playing, like, this deck, like, I have shock lands in here. These lands are $10 to $15 each.
Right.
And I 100% know they can't go into my budget decks, so I
Right.
don't even try to include them at this point.
Right.
So it's been a nice learning experience to figure out what is good and also cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And then typically with each deck, I can usually sneak in some cards that are between $5 and $10.
Mm-hmm.
And if I really want to push myself, I can do more. But I usually try not to. Because
Yeah.
I'm almost trying to get decks as cheap as possible at this point.
Mm-hmm. So with because I've seen most of your episodes, with doing these budget commander decks, like tell me a little bit about the commander decks that you've made on a budget where they overperformed by like a large margin.
Okay. Sorry, I'm playing a Primal Amulet. I drew a card. I'm going to discard a Ray of Distortion.
Yep.
It's got flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still can't find a fourth land.
Right.
And I will pass to you, sir.
All right.
But sorry, my brain went somewhere else. Can you?
Oh no.
Can you repeat that for me?
The question was, tell me a little bit about some of your budget commander decks that you've made that just completely overperformed and just blew your expectations out of the water.
Okay. So I can think of three, I suppose, that really stand out.
Mm.
And admittedly, looking back on it, two of them I was like, oh, like looking at them now, I'm like, yeah, those decks are really good, and I
Mm.
shouldn't have expected anything else. The third one still kind of surprises me, but the two that I should have expected, one of them is was a pretty recent one. It was mono green Selvala Heart of the Wilds,
Oh,
and
goody.
in my mind, I'm like, oh, like Selvala's really good. Like she's one of the strongest commanders you could probably have, especially for mono green. But I was like, oh, I'm building on $100 budget. Like it can't be that bad. I'm gonna do my best to not, go make infinite mana and just go crazy.
Mhm. I'll go to
And I think
combat.
yep,
This is a casual 16.
feels good.
4 of it is Rasheen.
Yep.
I think then.
But yeah, and I think in the gameplay video I wound up winning with that deck on like turn 5,
Mm-hmm.
which, considering it was a budget deck going against 3 like non-budget, like fully
1,000
tuned
units.
decks, was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy with that one.
Untap Stone Cold. Pass turn.
Not Roshin.
No, not Rasheen.
Okay.
Pass turn.
Hey, we did it.
Hey.
Wait, does it help? Probably not. But we're gonna try anyway. I could do that. I will tap blue, red, white, 1, and play Kaikar.
Hi,
Wind's
Kaikar.
Fury.
What's up, buddy?
So, whenever I cast a non-creature spell, I make a 1/1 white spirit with flying.
Hey.
And then, I will just pass.
All right.
Let's see. What's another deck? Another deck that I think overperformed, and again, I probably should have guessed this, was the random card that I built around was Archaeomancer.
Okay.
Which is it's a 4-mana wizard. You play it and it gets an instant or sorcery out of your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Archaeomancer is like traditionally pretty broken. So
Yes, it
maybe what I try to do is make it not broken. And all I do is try to copy Archaeomancer. Like just Archaeomancer, doing nothing else. And just beat people down with an army of tiny wizards. And of course, we get into the game and I accidentally take an infinite amount of turns because that's just how Archaeomancer works. I don't remember what the card is, the extra turn spell that has buyback. That you can like sacrifice 3 islands or something, and I was able to cast that
and just loop
play
it.
Archaeomancer, get it back, and like just keep looping it.
Oof.
And I was just like, man.
I mean, I don't know, man. Look, man, like I know those decks seem really like degenerate or whatever the case, but to be honest, man, when I'm watching your channel, I'm usually at all of your episodes, even the episodes I'm in, I'm usually rooting for you because a lot of times when with your usual suspects such as Bilal, you like sometimes you do get hated out of the game a little bit, just a smidgen.
Yeah, I mean, and that happens. It's so, I think one thing that I am not great at is playing to other. I don't know what the right word is. Like playing to the general aspects of the game. Like I'm always like, oh, this is the card. I'm gonna build around this, and I go like all in 100%. And I'll forget to put in things like board wipes or counter spells because I'm like, that doesn't fit with the theme. I don't need those. And so I'll get into such a situation where I'm like, oh yeah, board wipe would be really good right here. It's a shame I didn't include any in the deck. Yeah.
But no, but I mean, it's understandable because you're doing these unique and interesting builds that they can do, like, even if you're up against like pretty maxed out decks at your table, these are still affordable things that at least get you to play. And then on top of that, like even in the games where you didn't quite get there, you do some very interesting things that maybe in a scenario that wasn't the one that you're in, that it would have been extremely powerful. And like when it comes to this game of Magic the Gathering, it's extremely expensive to get into. So the one of the best things that your channel does is it gives would be players or people that are interested in like the commander format to see like you can build something on a budget and still, have a reasonable chance of, winning the game, right? And
Yeah,
let's
I mean,
see.
and that's usually the goal of it.
All right. So I'm going to do 1 red and 10.
Okay.
Uh Banefire twice you for 20. And then on insult to injury, Gutter Snipe will hit you for 2.
Well, um, I will, in response, I'm going to pay 1. I'm going to Path to Exile Roshin.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to make a Spirit.
Yep.
I'm going to draw a card.
Yep.
I'm going to discard a card.
Yep.
Yep. Faithless Looting.
Okay.
Yep. And I die. I tried.
It's okay. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Hey man, sometimes games are that way. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna do something because I'm gonna be involved. Not about to sit here and just get slapped, right?
Yeah. But I literally, before this, I was actually at one of my local game stores. I was in a Pioneer tournament.
Oh, okay. How'd that go for you?
I went undefeated, which is nice.
Sweet.
Just a little brag, but that's what I went with a friend of mine, and she actually did the same thing of like she knew she was dead, but she's just like, nah, I'm just gonna kill that creature of yours before I go out because I can.
Funnily enough,
sometimes you do what you gotta do.
Funnily enough, you probably could have just pathed my 10/10. You could have pathed my 10/10. You would have still had 2 blockers. You still would have been.
You Bane-fired me for 20 though.
Oh yeah, you're right. You still okay? Never mind. Never mind.
You didn't even have to go to combat.
Never mind. I tried. I tried. I really did try. Let me see here. But yeah, because I think it's always good to have a resource that provides that type of information where you can play this game with a budget and not have to. Well, I mean, there is still a chance, depending on the pod that you're in, that you're just gonna get dunked on. But that the fact that you still get a chance to play, and the budget deck itself is, even though it doesn't have the super duper expensive cards in it, it can still put in some work, as long as the game state goes in your favor. And and I bring this up because there was actually like a new person who just recently started coming to my LGS, and they were running a budget, the Demir guide that deals with mill, Finax, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did a budget build of that and brought it to the shop. And by the end of the game, it came between his Finax versus my Stranger Things deck. And the only reason I was able to win was because I had Kozilek in the deck. That was literally the only reason. Because he milled everybody for so many cards. And it was just like, I don't think we can get out of this. Then Kozilek showed up like, oh, wait, no, I can get out of this. But I don't think you guys can get out of this.
Nobody else can, yeah.
No, but that, like, I kid you not, that is literally the only reason I was able to get the W in that game, was because Kozilek was in the deck.
Gotcha.
Because otherwise, that thing, on a budget, that thing was a monster. That thing was a daggone boogeyman. It was so flippin' strong. Let me see here.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I really like about the budget aspect of it is that because there's so many cards in Magic the Gathering, like they've been making this game for so long,
hmm
there are a ton of cards that are really good
hmm
that are also very cheap,
Right.
you know? And there's not a lot of times where the like second tier cards get to shine
Uh huh.
because like, oh, do I play, Mana Drain or do I play Counterspell? Like you
Right.
play if you get the choice, you play Mana Drain because it's just better.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that the worst cards are bad.
Exactly.
Like they might not be as good, but they're not bad.
Right. Right. Right.
And a lot of people don't expect that. And it's also kind of nice to be able to pull out random cards and have the whole table go like, what does that do? Like I've never seen this thing before.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
so I think it's a ton of fun. And
Yeah.
it also another aspect of the like the random card aspect of it and making these decks is that I've gotten to play throughout the course of this past year
By the way, small plug.
most
Blue Ninja Story of Nevaeh episode 5 worked on every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. McAgee3 Productions. Make sure you check it out. All right, continue. I'm sorry, I had to do a plug there.
No, you're good. um I've kind of gotten to play like most archetypes for
Mhm.
Commander at this point on a budget.
hmm
And it's always nice to be able to post up a video and have people go like, huh, like I didn't think you could do that on a budget. Because I've played control, I've played aggro. I last week I posted a stacks deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'll have to check that
Hori
out.
Dust Drinker, and to be able to play like mono white stacks on a budget
hmm
is not something a lot of people expect because a lot of the stacks pieces are very expensive,
hmm
and so to be able to do that is it's nice,
And,
to show that not everything has to be super expensive.
and what was your take on that particular deck without going into too many spoilers? Because some people should probably check out the video, but just without too many spoilers, what was your take on the deck itself?
On the stacks deck,
Yes.
I think that it was good. I was able to squeeze in a bunch of cards that I think that brought me very close to the. I was only like 40 cents under the budget, so it was like
Wow.
$99.60 or something like that.
Okay.
But I think a lot of it is that stacks and like tax style strategies because they have been because there's been so many new like really good cards printed recently.
Uh huh.
Things like Esper Sentinel and Smothering Tithe.
Uh huh.
That the lesser known cards and the less powerful cards have started to slowly drop in price without a lot of people noticing.
Right.
And some recent reprints like Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, is currently sitting at $1.50,
Oh
which
wow.
is wild. She was like
That actually is
$10
pretty insane.
3 months ago.
Yeah, like outside of like the special arts or whatever, like yeah, it's like $1.
Yeah, and it's not even the new reprint version of her that's $1.
Right.
It's like the original Thalia is sitting at like $2. So to be able
I'm a
to
mulligan.
kind of bring that up, I suppose, and just look at all of these cards that are traditionally only really seeing play in one specific deck, and also trying to find ways to make that work. So, like Hikori, for example, the commander
hmm
doesn't let players untap their lands, including me, like including
Right.
the person playing it. So that leads to like, oh, like how do I get around this? We're gonna figure out a way to put everyone on the same page, but I need to benefit from it because
Right.
I'm the one making the deck.
hmm
So playing like a ton of mana rocks and things that will untap
Right. Right. Right.
and finding the cards that work well with that.
hmm
Like I got to play, what's his name, Oswald Fiddlebender
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the deck because he cares about artifacts and
Right.
like I've got 15 mana rocks. Like he's great. So it's nice because you get to play with the cards that don't show up very often, but are also just they're a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I like my play group hates the stacks decks
Well,
because
of
I've
course, because I mean,
yeah
it's the thing the thing about the stacks deck is that the whole point of the stacks deck is literally to it's almost a literal counter pick of usually the rest of the table because the rest of the table is trying to combo off on like turn 3, turn 2, turn 0, or whatever the case, and the stacks deck makes it to where like it actually as funny as it sounds, even though its archetype suggests otherwise, it actually makes the game fair. Because it's like instead of them just going off like 7 turns early, they have to actually go off like on time or something while you go ahead and be able to play your game. I
yeah.
believe I can keep this hand. Yes, I can.
All right, and I'm keeping mine as well.
All right, your call once again because you are my guest.
All right. You know what? You can go first this time. I don't want to be too greedy.
Cool. I am.
Um,
I'm going to exile
am
your
I gonna
non.
regret that decision?
I'm going to exile your non-existent graveyard and pass.
Sounds good. Um, yeah, and so it's kind of nice too. I'm gonna play a Temple of Triumph and scry one.
Yep.
That at this point I have essentially played
Did you draw?
like the two. I'm gonna. Do I want that? Nah, I'm gonna put that at the bottom. I've basically played like the two like boogeymen of Commander
Mm-hmm.
because I've played stacks and I've also played land destruction.
Mm-hmm. I'm untap. I'm sure.
So it's like a nice one-time experience. Like I've done it. I don't need to do it again. But considering
Fancy Forest.
I'm not always in control of the decks because it's a, random or suggested, it'll probably happen again.
Pass turn. All right. Sorry about that. We are
But
back.
like the land destruction deck is another personally one of my favorites.
Sure. Oh, is it?
Because
okay, my
it is.
Zach,
Just because it most of the time people are like,
so.
land
Yes.
destruction.
Okay.
Like,
we'll
touch
continue.
the
I'm
lands,
playing
I'm gonna
a
lose 2 life.
Japanese
Okay.
cultivate.
And then
Going to get
okay. Because it's like, oh, don't
swamp
touch
and
my
play.
lands.
I'm
like,
gonna put a.
I think the general conception is like,
forest
oh,
in
or
hand.
general perception is that I'm gonna blow up every.
There's the forest. And then El Swampo. So please continue with because I think we're talking about land destruction. That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, I also kind of agree. I think the main issue with destroying people's lands is not being able to win after you do it because
Your turn.
in my mind it's almost like a win condition in itself.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to do the things that win you the game. So casting a mass land destruction spell, if you're just doing it because you're like, I can, then that's not really any fun for anyone at the table.
Right.
I'm gonna tap 4 and I'm gonna play a Baird Steward of Archive. So you gotta pay 1 to attack me with creatures now.
Okay. Well, boo to you.
That is it. Yeah. And so I think that's why when I got, like, I was still doing the random cards, I spun into Fall of the Thran, which is a saga that destroys everybody's lands, and then over the course of the next 2 turns brings back 4 from the graveyard to the battlefield. So I was like, oh man, land destruction. Like, people are gonna hate this. Like, I kind of hate this. Like, I don't want to do this. And then throughout the course of building it, I was like, what if I just put like all my lands into play and then destroyed my own lands?
Gerard's orders.
Yep.
And I dropped my Gerard's orders on the floor.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got it.
And so I kind of got to the point in building the deck where I was like, I think the plan is to play like a bunch of board wipes so I can clear the board of everything, clear away everybody's lands, and then still have enough mana left over to play something, like some big beater, some big creature, something that's going to like slowly let me win the game.
Right.
Because even, you know, a 6/6 is like, oh, that's inevitability. I'm gonna get there eventually. And so that's kind of what led me into the Palladium Moors, the Ruiner,
Fancy
which is like a big
Damn.
old 6/6 dragon. And I was just like, oh, that works. Sorry, what's that creature there?
That is a fancy-looking Protean Hulk.
Oh, terrifying.
Yeah, it's got a little X-ray stuff and whatnot. It's kind of interesting looking. That goes in my hand, and then I'm passing.
But yeah, and so I was like able to get to the point playing the deck where I was like, okay, if I just, you know, wipe away all the lands with enough mana, I can then cast my big like 6/6 commander that flies and has vigilance and like trample, and that's just, it's gonna kill someone in 4 turns. And like, yeah, maybe you can get back in it, but the idea was destroy the lands and then win the game. And I think the process of like building that deck and getting to that point was more fun than I expected. I am going to play my commander.
Seems good.
And I am going to go to combat.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to poke you for 4.
Ow.
Poke
That's
4.
no fun. And then we need to...
Yeah.
Commander is what, 2 power?
Yes. Yep, they're both 2 power.
Okay. Ouch. All right.
Yeah, and so as controversial as it may be, I'm done after that.
Okay.
But as controversial as it may be, I would say that the land destruction deck is one of my favorites that I've made, which I know a lot of people would not be happy to hear me say.
Right. Yeah, that's not the most exciting or attractive thing to bring up. Hello, welcome home. Okay, so considering what's going on your side of the field, I think this makes the most sense right now. We're going to pay 6. Hi, Liliana. How are you?
Oh, boy.
Everybody sacrifice 2 dudes.
Yep, they gone.
Let's see here. And hold on. Did I? Yeah, because I only had 5 mana. That's right. All right. Then I pass.
All right.
Okay, so you are A-okay with land destruction so long as it's not just land destruction for the sake of land destruction.
Yeah, and that's just like mass land destruction, like targeted land destruction. There are lands that gotta go.
That's true. Absolutely true.
Sometimes there's just things that gotta go. Liliana's at 2.
Yep, she most certainly is.
I think what we do then is we tap 5 and we replay Rem.
Yep.
Then I'm going to tap my Forge of Heroes, and since my commander entered the battlefield this turn, I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on him.
Yep.
Find my dice.
As soon as you find it.
Cool. And then I will go to combat and hit Lily for 3.
Well, Lily is no longer with us anymore.
Alright. And then I will be done after that.
Alright, untap.
Yeah, and so it's nice because playing all the different like random cards and decks has let me play a lot of decks that I don't think I would have tried otherwise. Like the land destruction or the stacks, and kind of realizing like they're not as bad as you think.
That's true.
Granted, I'm the one playing them, not playing against them, so maybe they're still bad for my opponents. I don't know.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're gonna pay 6 again. Garrick?
What the heck?
We'll kill that guy.
Dead.
Draw a card. I already played my land, so I will pass after that.
And which Garrick is this again?
This is the Cursed Huntsman. This is the one where it can only get loyalty from the wolves that it generates.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let me see here. Um, so what areas in your content do you think could use some improvement?
Hmm. Um, I'm just gonna pass, by the way.
Okay, on top.
But I think the big one is the general like production of
Mm-hmm.
it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think most people probably know this at this point, but like the Dungeon Learner's Guide is me. You know,
Right.
there's I'm the one who does all the editing and I film all the videos and I post them and record them and I'm the one kind of doing the whole of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to diminish the work of the other people who participate in the games at all,
Right. Right.
but
Right.
I learned to edit in the process of editing videos for the channel, so I'm
Right.
sure that there are a lot of like tips and tricks that I could learn, or things I could do to kind of improve the quality and the
Zero.
even just like my general quality, like improving my skills as an editor or as a recorder, that I probably don't know the tips and tricks because I
Mm-hmm.
taught myself how to do it. So I think that's probably the biggest place that I would say I could use some improvement, and that the channel itself could improve, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people want to see things that are entertaining.
Right.
People want to see
These will represent the
fun.
tutu wolves, by the way. Tutu. Yeah. Tutu
Okay,
wolves.
like they want to see the fun gameplay, and they want to see the deck tech, and I still haven't quite figured out a good like system, I suppose. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like the system I have now seems to be working,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't get feedback often on like, oh, what's the word? I don't get feedback a lot on like the general quality of the the video. No one's
Right.
just like, "Oh man, you just, your deck tech was terrible.
Right.
All the camera shots were awful and your audio was terrible." And like people don't, I mean, I'm sure some people probably
Right.
say these things, but I've never seen the comments or anything like that. So,
Okay, so I'm gonna go to
I,
combat because my dudes have haste.
yep, send them in.
Uh, we're gonna send in for 9.
9 is many.
Yep, 5, and then the couple of tutus, which makes 9.
5 and a couple of tutus. So what I will do
Mm-hmm.
is, before blocks, I'm actually going to flash in an alms collector.
Okay.
It's a 3/4.
Yep.
If an opponent would draw 2 or more cards, instead we each draw a card,
Okay.
and I will block one of the tutus.
Okie dokie, and you will take a whopping 7. 5 of it being commander. I'll send this. No, I'll send the. I'll send. No, no, no. I need to send this one away because it's probably harder to see. We'll put that over there. Garrett gets a loyalty. Let's see here. Alright, and then I will play Sokenzan, Crucible of Defiance as a land. Because those lands are always so interesting.
Yeah, those lands are real good.
They're so good. It's so good. It's so good. Um, and then I guess while I'm at it, I'm going to Diabolic Intent. I'll sacrifice the other wolf and go grab a card.
Okay.
This gets another loyalty. And I'm gonna go search for something. And then it'll be, well, I should probably search it up first because it might dictate what you want to, may or may not want to do. Let's see. Let's go.
And do you have to reveal it?
No, it is. It's
Okay.
it's a normal tutor. You know what? Let's grab this. I'm gonna grab that.
I think So to
and
go
then
back to the budget
yes.
thing, though.
Uh huh.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I was just passing her.
Okay. So my turn then.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. To go back to the budget thing, though, I think the card that you just played to is a good example of cards that I kind of just expect to not be able to play
Right.
when I'm doing budget. Like I'm always just kind of like, I probably can't play tutors. Like that's probably just out of the budget.
It's going Pepper Jack. Thank you.
Um,
Continue.
and so I've been able to go and like find tutors that are within the budget
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you just like you're building a deck around one card. You typically you need that card.
Right.
So I've learned to find the cards that really care about getting other cards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. How big are your kobolds? They're just little 0-1s.
Little 0-1s.
Little 0-1s.
Eensy weensy 0-1s.
What if?
What if?
What if?
I hear the gears turning.
I just said we're gonna do 3 damage to all creatures.
Well, I would say that you are a not very nice person.
You're welcome.
You are not nice, not even a little.
And then because my alms collector's a 3/4, I'm gonna poke Garrick for 3.
Garrick is at 1. You evil, evil person.
You're welcome. And then we'll play Gerard, Weatherlight Hero. So he's a 3/3 with first strike, and when he dies, I can exile him to return all artifacts and creatures in my graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And I will pass.
All right. I'm going to untap because you are such a not nice person doing all that nonsense. How dare you?
You're welcome.
All right. I'm going to draw my card. And then I'm going to... Let's see here. So, do you have any big projects or events for the viewers to look forward to?
Oh boy. I mean, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that I've run into is because I'm doing all the editing myself, it's
Right.
a lot harder to get out more than 1 video a week.
Right, 0.
And I'm trying very hard to keep the Friday videos, like the videos that I post on Fridays, to be the Commanders Guild.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other day that I'll sometimes post things will be Tuesdays, but I haven't done that in quite a while because I run out of time, and especially lately, life has just been a little hectic.
Right, right.
So I have like 3 or 4 videos filmed that are not Commander or not the Commanders Guild series that I'm trying to get edited and put out there. And they're just moving real slow. So I've got a couple of Oathbreaker games, some that I've literally been talking about for months, and they just still haven't come up. Because I have I can't talk. I have an Urza Academy Headmaster, I think, the 5-color unset Planeswalker. I have that Oathbreaker deck coming down. I've got a Liliana deck, an Ugin deck that are all in the works for Oathbreaker. And then I also have some Commander games that were filmed that are not a part of the Commanders Guild series. So, for example,
let's each sack a creature.
That's just rude. Well, I don't know if you're planning on drawing more cards, but I'm going to get rid of Gerard in the hopes that you do.
We will do that. Add another counter to Garrick. It's really just to kind of upgrade one of my creatures, to be honest.
That's fair.
Let's see.
So yeah, so another one of the main videos that I've been working on, and I've been editing it like piece by piece for a couple of months now, is Jason, Sean, Bilal, and I made a decision to like swap decks. So we all did a budget limit of $50
Uh-huh.
instead of the usual 100, and then we all built each other decks
Mhm.
as like a almost like a Secret Santa type of thing.
Play Ammerstrom Predator.
Oh, that's a good one.
Go to combat.
Yup.
2, 7, 10, 13.
Yeah, take 13.
Ooh boy, 13.
Near death.
And then we will pass.
All right. Yeah, so I've got that video on the way
Mm-hmm.
because we recorded it. I have all the deck lists for them. I just haven't been able to get it out yet. I will play a planes.
Mm-hmm.
I will go to combat.
Yes.
I will attempt to kill Garrick.
I do believe Garrick eats it.
All right. I think the problem I'm about to run into is that I think I just die. So I will tap. What's color requirements? I need red. Tap 4
Mm-hmm.
and cast a chain reaction to do X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield, which I believe is currently 5.
So in with the cast in response to the cast,
Yep.
I'm going to sack this token.
Yep.
Put a +1/+1 counter on this guy. I'm going to.
Well, doesn't he get a counter once he taps? So I think he already had one, didn't he?
Oh, I missed the trigger. Oh, okay. So that's off of the thingy. Oh, okay. So I guess I was supposed to exile a card from your graveyard. I wasn't paying attention.
That's all right. Do you want Gerard, Sweltering Suns, or Baird?
I guess Baird, I suppose.
All right. Get him going.
I will also sack the Playcrafter.
Okay.
So now, if my math is correct, the chain reaction is only doing 3?
It is only doing 3. Still killed 2 creatures, though, technically.
Yeah, you are correct, sir.
I did do that. All right. I'll be done. Go ahead.
All right. And tapping. You did make my forces a little bit schmiddle. A little bit schmiddle. You also have open mana, which scares me.
I do indeed.
Let's see here. You're 18, open mana. How afraid am I of that open mana? Probably not.
It's up to you.
I'm not scared. Actually,
I have 1 red, 2 or 3 white, and a colorless.
Okay. That looks like
just so we're aware.
That does look like Settle the Wreckage. I will say that. However, is this one of your budget decks or is this one of your personal decks?
This is one of my personal decks.
Okay, so there is a high chance that you might have a Settle the Wreckage in hand. But once again, how afraid am I of that?
I don't know.
You know
it's
what?
Up to you.
You know
also,
what?
Fun fact, Settle the Wreckage is pretty budget.
Oh, is it?
It is. I think it's currently a couple of bucks.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. Yeah, we're just gonna crash. Trigger. I guess we'll exile Bear? Not Bear, the other guy?
Gerard.
Yep.
Gerard.
And we're crashing in for 10.
For 10. Alright. So here's what we do. Before the blocks.
Yes.
I will. What is the right answer? I think the right answer is to tap 3 and cast my fiance's favorite card.
Oh.
Generous Gift.
Ooh.
In an attempt to destroy the Immersturm Predator.
You know, I think we let that go. Okay. Down. I get a 3/3. I know it's not an
All right.
elephant, but it's close enough.
Close enough. It looks like an elephant.
Yes. Okay. So a whopping 5 then.
Yep. I will take 5. So that also puts me to 15 commander.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you get rid of all my kobolds, you jerk.
That was the plan.
All right. I'm gonna pass after that.
Okay. But yeah, so my fiance Lena, who has shown up on the channel a few times,
Mm-hmm.
has taken quite the liking to generous gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite sure why. I'm assuming it's the chaos of it. You destroy something and they get an elephant. But
I mean, to be fair, like especially if you're doing budget decks, generous gift is not that bad.
that is true.
It is
It's
something. It's something that deals with essentially anything that's in play that you otherwise probably couldn't deal with. So,
yeah. And it also, fun fact, is about the same price as Settle the Wreckage.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Oh man, this is gonna be no value because you exiled my creatures, but
Mm-hmm.
I've got to do it to survive. I'm gonna play a Bruna, the Fading Light.
Okay.
3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 2 mana left over. Let's make it these 2. Hup, 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 hup.
Aja.
Yeah. And her love for generous gift goes so far that she requested that we make one of the random deck techs on generous gift.
Awesome.
So it turned into a Zedru deck. The idea to give gifts to your opponents that they may not necessarily want,
right.
which was a pain in the butt to play over spell table. I will tell you that much.
oh yeah, of course, of course. You better hope your play group has all the drawable tokens handy because there's gonna be a lot of them.
I don't think I attack because I'm at 13,
Mm-hmm.
so I will pass. And also, for the record, I have no cards in my hand.
Okay, so at the end of your turn, I'm gonna cast a summoning trap. 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6.
See, this is why I didn't attack.
That's summoning trap. Look at top 7. Put a creature among them into play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Well, we got creatures at least. It looks like it's going to be the Fleshbag Marauder.
Seems good.
Yep, Fleshbag Marauder. The rest of these go to the bottom. Let's each sacrifice a creature.
For the sake of my survival, it's going to be the Alms Collector.
Okay. And I'm going to untap. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. As we're continuing onward and upward here. Matter of fact, let me just do it this way. I am a bit of a weirdo when it comes to like my mana. I try to keep it nice and organized. Draw.
No worries.
Big old Bruno. Let's see. Well, so you're at 13.
I am at 13. I'm at 13 and I have a 5/7 flyer.
You have a 5/7 flyer. Well, I guess we go to combat. We're going to crash with the crew.
Alright. And how big is Prosh?
Prosh is a 5/5.
5/5. The issue is if I kill him, you just get more kobolds.
That is true. I do get a whole bunch of kobolds.
If I don't kill him, I risk death.
You risk death.
Because I think if he hits me, I go to 20 commander damage, and I do not want to do that. Especially because you might just, Kessig Wolf run me out of the game anyway.
That is a true statement.
So yeah, we block Prosh.
Alright. So yeah, this is a secret to no one. I mean, I have them in at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, we'll give Prosh +5, +0 in trample.
Alright. So I wind up taking 6 total.
Well, let's see. It's 7 toughness. Getting hit for 10, so you're taking 3. Yeah, you're taking 6.
All right, and 3 of that's commander, so I go to what, 18?
Yes.
18 commander damage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we go. Top deck of the century.
Yep.
My turn.
I'll play the Terramorphic Expanse. That's very obnoxious and pass.
Sounds good. Cool. Oh yeah. Look at that.
Did we get there?
Amazing top deck. Gonna play an Evolving Wilds.
Sweet.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna crack the Evolving Wilds. Go find a mountain.
In response, I'm gonna crack my Terramorphic and go find me a whatever my other Japanese land is. 'Cause I have a few of them. I guess I'll just grab another Japanese swamp.
I don't know what the right call is here. I think the right call is to try to draw another card.
Uh-huh.
But if I don't put a blocker out, or I don't do something with the card that I draw, I just die.
Mm.
The other option is I play Rim,
Mm-hmm.
and he blocks.
Mm.
He blocks Prosh for exactly 1 turn. That's not even true, because you have a Kessig Wolf run. He doesn't do nothing.
Mm.
He don't do nothing. So I have to draw a card to try to survive. So I will activate my War Room here. 1, 2, 3, 4. To draw a card and pay 2 life.
Yeah, so you're at 5.
I'm at 5. Interesting. I will pass the turn.
Ooh. That doesn't sound very encouraging.
You'll be fine.
That definitely doesn't sound very encouraging. Draw. Let's see here. You're at 5. I'm going to pay 2. I'm going to play... Oh, this is on top. I'm going to play a Key to the City.
Seems good.
You still sound very, very confident, which I'm not a fan of. Screw it. We're gonna go for it. It's fine. I will discard a Sylvan Caryatid to make my beast unblockable, elephant unblockable.
Okay.
I will go to combat. I will attack for 3.
I will not block.
You will not block. Well, let's see here. So red, green. Make it 5.
All right. I would like to, before damage,
Yes.
I would like to Boros Charm, or not, and I would like to give it double strike.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. This is example number 1 as to why you should read your cards, because I was like, oh, Boros Charm deals 4 damage. Cool. I can kill the elephant. It only does 4 damage to players.
Right.
So.
Oh, all right.
I am dead. I thought I was not dead. I am, in fact, very dead.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
So, those were some good games, sir. Those were some very good games. Um,
Yeah.
so I do have one last question for you as
Okay.
we get ready to wrap things up. This was actually this was actually a very good experience. Wonderful session. First off, before I ask my final question, did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah. It was a good time. Appreciate you having me on.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Okay, so for my final question to you, Zach of the Dungeon Learner's Guide, and I made sure to write this down because it didn't occur to me until not even a few hours ago. Who would be your ideal Magic the Gathering celebrity pod for a game of Commander?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Uh, I guess to answer your question with another question, what are we defining as celebrity?
Celebrity would be maybe tournament winners, uh, very well established content creators on YouTube. So you've got the Command Zone, you've got MTG Goldfish, Channel Fireball, etc. Like those I would say those will qualify as, in my opinion, celebrity MTG content creators. Of course, you also have Tolarian Community College, that sort of thing. So who would be your ideal pod?
Hmm.
You and three others.
Three others. Oh boy. I think so. Just off the top of my head, I think that someone I would probably enjoy playing against would be Tomer of
Mm-hmm.
the MTG Goldfish group,
Mm-hmm.
because he's also a budget commander person. He does a lot of budget decks, and I think the play styles kind of would interact relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, boy, let's see.
Okay, so we got Tomer.
Yeah, I think maybe another would be. I'm not 100% sure if this counts. And it's more of just someone that I have interacted with a few times on Twitter.
Okay.
But Mono Whiteboarder,
Mm-hmm.
you know who that one is.
No, but please enlighten me.
So he is a person who he's pretty much like the go-to person for mono white decks
Uh-huh.
in the content creating community,
Mm-hmm.
and he's someone that I have gotten the chance to play Oathbreaker with before.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, white is my go-to color for the
Mm-hmm.
most part. And usually, if there's ever a question of like, "Hey, I have this idea for a mono white deck. Like, what should I put in it?" He's always got an answer. So he would probably be another one,
Mm-hmm.
just because I like I like his style.
Oh, okay.
Um,
All right, so we need one more.
and my, my fiance is yelling at me to say Post Malone, but I'm not going to say that.
You don't like Post Malone?
Because I mean, I mean that's technically an accurate answer. Like you could say Post Malone. He is technically a Magic person now.
Yeah, you got Post
Um,
Malone. You've got the other gentleman who's a football player. His name escapes me at the moment.
yeah, I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's boy, I don't remember his name either. He started off as an actor and he runs the I Hate Your Deck series.
Right.
Man, yeah, there's a lot of people in content creation for Magic the Gathering.
Well,
It's tough to narrow it down to just a few.
I'm asking you to do your best because you still need
You
one
are
more for
so
your dream
I got
pod.
two, so I just need one more, right?
Yep.
I don't know. Let's say just for the sake of picking somebody,
20.
how about um for the sake of the chaos that it may bring to the table, how about Stephen Green
Stephen Green
of
from.
Commander Versus?
Yep. I remember that guy.
Yeah, he is one out of everyone in the original Commander Versus crew. He's the only one that I haven't actually played a game with.
Oh, okay. Really?
So that's why I would put him on the list. Yeah, I played with the other three. I played with John,
Uh huh.
Jeremy, and Justin.
Oh wow, that's actually interesting. That's awesome, actually.
So yeah, pretty sweet. That was our buddy Ezra and I went to STG Con a couple years back,
Hmm.
and we got to jam some games with them. And they actually wound up picking one of Ezra's decks for a live Commander versus game, which was pretty sweet.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would probably say those three.
Okay, so you've got green, you've got the mono white consecrator, and you've got Tomer.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you've established your pod, what deck would you play?
Are you looking for one of my personal decks or one of the decks that I put on the channel?
What deck would you play? Doesn't matter.
Ah, man, I like specifics.
Oh nah, where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in that? Come on, man. We're talking about your dream pod,
That is
right?
true.
With established content creators in the Magic the Gathering community, and you get to play with this it's like a once in a not very often opportunity. So, what deck is going to be representing the Dungeon Learner's Guide?
So, all right. So I've got three in mind that I would probably pick. They're all my personal decks,
Mm-hmm.
and in an unsurprising turn of events, they are all either red, white, or red, white.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my mono white Gideon tribal deck that is just it's never gonna win, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Depala vehicles deck, which is another like one of my babies. It's at this point I've gotten it fully foiled out, so I'm a big fan of being able to play that deck when I can.
All right.
But I
Well,
do think
congratulations
the
on that.
actual thank you. When I foiled it out, vehicles were very cheap,
Right.
and then they reprinted vehicles in Kamigawa, and they have gotten a little bit more expensive since then. So I
Right.
don't
Right.
think
Right.
any new editions may be foiled out.
True.
Um, but I think the actual answer that I would give would be my Zerzoth Chaos Rider deck,
Okay.
which is it's mono red. It's kind of devil tribal,
Oh yeah,
but
I
it's also
remember.
like
Didn't you play that on one of your episodes?
I kind of I played a version of it, so I didn't play
Oh, I see.
my deck.
Right. You
The
played a
one I played
budget
on the channel
version.
was much more it was much more madness focused,
Oh, I
and my
see.
version is more devil focused.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
But I absolutely love Zerzoth. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
probably at this point, if not my favorite commander, definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And just the style of gameplay that that deck leads to is a lot of fun because
Mm-hmm.
you're able to discard cards at random for you and anyone else at the table.
Mm-hmm.
So it adds that little chaos element to it and makes the games much more interactive
Mm-hmm.
because you kind of have to convince people to let you hit them with a devil, or you know, if they don't let you hit them, then you swing with the devil anyway because you
Right.
don't mind if they die. So it's a ton of fun to actually play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't get the chance to play that as much as I would like. So if I
Mm-hmm.
could pick one, I'd probably pick that one.
Okay. 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 See, that wasn't so bad, now was it?
It just took a little bit of thinking.
Yeah, you just had to talk your way through it. It makes sense.
Exactly.
But yes, so yeah, so if you guys are interested in Zach's content of the Dungeon Learner's Guide, you can catch his YouTube channel, The Dungeon Learner's Guide. He also can be reached on social media. You can find him on Twitter at 13points. Hopefully, I spelt that right. Is there
Yeah.
Are there any other outlets that I am missing, Zach, that you would like to share?
I don't really think so. I mean, those are the two that I'm the most active on, the Twitter and YouTube. I do have an email if you want to send it to me. It's just dungeonlearnersguide@gmail.com. I don't get a lot of traffic through there. That's mainly for like if I'm reaching out to other content creators and things like that. But I have received some suggestions for cards and things there, so I'm more than happy to respond there as well. So,
Okay. Okay. Cool. And and you drop a video every week or?
yep, every single Friday. Every Friday, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. What are we? Eastern Standard Time? Eastern
Yes, we
Standard
are.
Time.
So yeah, every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time USA, catch the Dungeon Learner's Guide dropping a new spicy budget brew on their channel. And who knows, maybe he'll put up a deck that actually interests you and get you into a game of Commander. Um so yeah, I think that's gonna do it for tonight, you guys. Zach, thank you very much for being my guest tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, I stream every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time USA. Tuesdays is Art Tuesdays. Fridays, TGI McAgee3, where we do adventure games. Saturdays, Saturday Sluggers, where we do fighting games. If you like what you saw, give your man a follow. Love what you saw, give your man a sub. But either way, let folks know that McAgee3 is out here putting quality content for each and every one of you. Social media, catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and DeviantArt at McAgee3. I myself also have a YouTube channel called McAgee3 Productions, where you can find the replay of this episode and many other episodes of McAgee3 Meetup from there. So if that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Kept up to date on all new content that comes up. Mainly the McAgee3 Meetup episodes, of course. Uh, I am also an artist. I do emotes, sub badges, avatars, and banners. But currently, I'm working on my original comic book, Blue Ninja: The Story of Nevaeh, which you can find on the DeviantArt page, deviantart.com/McAgee3. Episodes 1 through 4 can be found for your reading pleasure on the DeviantArt page, and you can catch me every Tuesday working on episode 5. We are almost done. Almost done. So hang in there, check it out. It's awesome. Zach, do you have anything else for us on the way out the door?
Just thanks for everyone who's watching and who may watch it in the future as well. Had a good time, got some good games. Didn't get any wins though, so I gotta get you back on those ones. So
yeah, you'll definitely get me back in the next episode of Dungeon Learner's Guide. If there's anything I've learned, I usually get blown up pretty quickly.
That's my job.
Yeah. So thank you one and all for spending your precious time with us. You all spending your precious time with us lets us know that our content is worth your precious time, and your time is exactly that. It's very precious to us, so thank you very much. Once again, Zach, thank you for being my guest. Pepperjack1986, thank you for hanging out in the chat tonight. Caffeinated Top Hat, thank you for the follow. You are loved and appreciated for that. Thank you. That is going to do it for tonight, you guys. I will see you all. I guess I need to do some announcements while I'm at it. So tomorrow we're gonna be playing some Tekken 7 for Saturday Sluggers. Then Tuesday we're gonna be going back to the art stream, working on the comic book as mentioned. And then next week on Friday we'll be going back to our TGI McAgee3 adventure stuff. Haven't figured out what game to play, but we'll figure it out in a little bit throughout the coming days. That's gonna do it for tonight. Thank you one and all. I will see you all tomorrow for another edition of Saturday Sluggers. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you on Tuesday for another edition of Art Tuesday. And if for whatever reason I don't see you on Tuesday, I'll see you next week for another edition of Teach McAgee3. And if for whatever reason I don't see you any of those times, I will see you next month for April's edition of McAgee3 Meetup. So you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. And in regards to what's going on in the world right now, I will once again leave you all with this. It is always darkest before dawn. So you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Catch you all later. Bye-nie.